Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Tuesday, December 11th, 2018. It's 7:54 a.m. and it's time to start Good Morning Pop Culture. Now it's a very, very cold 17 degrees here at World Class Bullshitters headquarters, but this is going to be a hot show because we're going to be talking about this new information about the nightmarish conditions at the factories where Disney and Hasbro toys are made. We're also going to be discussing the Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer, as well as a few other things. So, before we start today's show, just like to remind everybody that we are on the road to closing out the year. So, this Friday night is our Spider-Man commentaries. Excuse me. This Friday night is our Spider-Man commentaries. So we're going to be watching Spider-Man 1 and 2. Number 1 starts around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Part 2 will start once Kendo is home. So we're opening this up to the patrons. I believe we've been contacted by maybe just one, maybe two people. But we got one spot left for the first movie and one spot left for the second movie. So if you're a patron and you enjoy Spider-Man and you have a frame of reference for the character, please join us because we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to go into a deep dive about the film. Hell, depending on how everything goes, I may draw while we watch the film. So let's just get the excitement high for that. And I'll draw some Spider-Man pictures and we'll have some fun. But that's Friday night. Over the weekend, we don't have anything else planned. And then next week, I'm going to try to get the guys together and we're going to give you a few Christmas commentaries at night because we're all in the holiday spirit and we're all having a lot of fun getting prepared for Christmas. For the most part, my shopping's done. What does my mom want this year? Not much, even though I'm offering. Well, that's the sign of a, mom. Oh, honey, don't worry about me. Well, mom, I want to. So I'm pretty much taken care of on this end. But I'm just doing some year-end stuff here, and the commentaries are going to be a lot of fun. So they'll be live for the most part. We'll do, Christmas Vacation and Die Hard and A Christmas Story, a few things like that. Plus maybe a couple other deeper cuts like Jingle All the Way, even though that's a pretty shallow film. I like Jingle All the Way. A lot of people want to shit on it. I'm not one of them. I find it to be fun, entertaining, and it takes me back to the 90s when I actually wanted a Turbo Man doll. And if you're like our buddy American Trent 007, you have one, and they're worth a ton of money. So be on the lookout for that. And as I said, folks, the 24th will be our last Good Morning Pop Culture. I think that'll be the day where we open the P.O. Box stuff. It'll be like a little mini Christmas party here on the channel. So if you're off work, you have an excuse to drink in the morning with us. Get your desk wine ready, folks. It's going to be a good time. And then the World Class Bullshitters podcast has 2 episodes left this year as well. So this Thursday night, be prepared, and then next year will be our end-of-the-year extravaganza. So it'll be a lot of fun. There will be a couple weeks without us, but I think you'll make do. It'll give me time to recharge the batteries. It'll give me time to work more exclusively on the comic book and whatever videos and news stories come out. But it'll just give me some time, and that's what I need is time. So let's enjoy the last, 13 days we have together. And then, we'll come back in the new year refreshed and ready for Star Wars Celebration Episode 9. What is it? Fallen Son or Fortunate Son or whatever Kylo Ren, whatever sort of son he may be. I call him an asshole, but I don't think Star Wars Episode 9, Asshole Son, would really sell a lot of... Actually, I think... Press 1 if you'd wear a shirt that says Star Wars Episode 9, Asshole Son. Spelled S-O-N. I would actually wear a shirt that says Asshole Son, S-U-N, because I don't like bright light. But that's just me. But there's all kinds of news swirling around with Star Wars Episode 9, and we'll be back to cover that. We'll be back to cover everything. Don't worry, we're not going away. We're just taking a break. So let's see where we are in terms of viewers. 114, so we got a little bit of time till we start today's main topic. While we wait, let's talk about some interesting news. So this is not really an opinion piece. This is just a straight up fact. And you guys can check out your screen right now. Avengers Endgame has already broken a Fandango record. We finally live in a post-4 Avengers trailer world. We know its title, Endgame. We've gotten a glimpse of Jeremy Renner as Ronan. Hello! And now we're playing the fun speculation game. In the single day since the trailer was released for Endgame, it has not only wooed us, but it has broken records. According to Eric Davis, managing editor at Fandango, The fourth Avengers film has blown past all 2018 trailers, despite only being out for 1 day. And then you can see the tweet right there. This just in, Avengers Endgame has broken all the first records. It is this year's most viewed trailer in the first 24 hours of release on our Fandango Movie Clips YouTube network. 38 million subscribers. Way to brag, bitch. And it hasn't even been out for 24 hours yet. Get ready for an all-timer, folks. I guess it beat Captain Marvel. Remember how everybody was putting those numbers together for Captain Marvel? I think I saw somewhere... Yeah, here it is right here. The trailer was viewed 289 million times in 24 hours. And then the article says, the internet should just stop now because there's no way anything else is going to compete with these numbers. Not even Star Wars comicbook.com? I thought Star Wars was the best thing ever. Infinity War was the fastest movie to gross $1 billion in just 11 days. It usurped Star Wars The Force Awakens, which had previously made the feat in 12 days. It also had the highest opening weekend and single weekend gross worldwide. It unsurprisingly became the highest grossing superhero movie of all time. Not only has the Endgame trailer beat Aquaman and Captain Marvel in YouTube likes, but its 2.1 million likes give it more than the two other films combined. It's already creeping up on Infinity War, which currently stands at 3.4 million likes 1 year after its release. In addition to the immense trailer success, Endgame is already projected to make a ton of money when it hits theaters. How much is a ton of money? Let's find out. Some analysts are saying it could hit the $2 billion mark. It comes out April 26, 2019. So I keep talking about the release date. So Captain Marvel is March 8th, International Women's Day. It's on the nose. And then April 26th is Avengers, and then July 5th, my mom's birthday, is Spider-Man. Well, Mom, in 2012, we took you to go see Spider-Man. Let's do it again. No, let's not. That was funny. Her boyfriend, for her birthday, took us to see The Amazing Spider-Man in 2012, and then he took us to a nice dinner. But I don't think my mom at what? Well, I won't give her age out. But her age in 2012, I don't think she wanted to spend her day watching Spider-Man, even though she likes the character. That's kind of weird how she knows all the shit. Especially J. Jonah Jameson. I don't know why she likes it, but she does. But I do find that, what is that, 42 days or some shit like that, or 48 days, that's going to be an odd month and a half, and a hard sell if you ask me. But we'll see. We'll find out when we get there. So it looks like we got a lot of ones for Star Wars Asshole Son. People are happy about the Spider-Man stuff. Good morning to everyone out there. Yeah, the Spider-Man stuff's going to be a lot of fun. I don't really get to talk about it the way I do. On the morning show, I'm trying to cover multiple topics, a multitude of topics, which is fine. That's not even a complaint. It would be really interesting and boring to talk about, one topic. I have thought about, if the show gets really bad, I'm just going to start talking about different cheeses and see how long I can keep people listening to the show. That's my endgame. That's my Avengers endgame right there, folks. You'll know when the show is truly in its death throes. Jeff pulls out the cheese talk. Why cheese? Because. But, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really, really excited. I wish it was Friday night right now. I really wish you guys could time jump with me, because I can, but I can't bring you with me, and we could start our Spider-Man discussion. Shit, if it goes really, really well, we may have Spider-Man 3 in us, energy-wise. We don't know yet. I don't know yet. I may have to call in some reserve team members like the DJ D show or somebody. So if you're out there, if you've been on the show, make sure you have a copy of this film. Or all three of them, I should say, because we're not going to get into the amazing territory ever. We've done them for a Patreon hangout with our friend Justin, but that's as far as our interest in those movies go. We lived through them. They're over. No more. No ma'am. No thank you. The Pui. Good morning, Jeff. How are you? Well, thank you, Pui, for the super chat and the good morning. I'm well. I was up working on a video, but I got enough sleep, so I feel good. I sound worse than I actually feel. My voice sounds a little hoarse, but I feel great. Finally figured out what the issue was with the circuit here in the house. The circuit breaker blew, so I had to climb over bullshit in the basement, which, never fun, but I don't care. It feels good in here now. So, good morning, pop culture. I can fire on all cylinders. Yeah, we'll talk about that too while we wait to hit our magical number of 200. We'll talk about the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer. Or not trailer, but poster. It came out yesterday. I was going to cover it. I don't like Sonic the Hedgehog. I know some people do. That's fine. You know, this isn't a joke. I actually saw an interesting article once talking about how Sonic the Hedgehog really has an appeal to autistic children. And I just wondered what it was. So I read the article. And that's cool that the character appeals to that demographic. As somebody who's been there since day one, I don't like the character. Sonic the Hedgehog movie poster. So I'm not going to go see this movie. I think it looks, well, I mean, it's a poster. What can I say? I don't like Sonic, though. That's the thing. I don't like Sonic the Hedgehog. It's never been, you know, he's never been a character that I went, oh man, I gotta get the Sonic games. I own one Sonic game. And here we go. This is a good image for you guys to check out. So here's the movie poster compared to a fairly recent video game image. And there's your Sonic the Hedgehog. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I'm glad you guys are really hot in Brazil and other parts of the world. I look out my window and I see frost everywhere. Not Deacon Frost, not Jack Frost, just fucking real frost. I don't like cold weather. I can handle it. I lived in Michigan. I got all kinds of crazy stories about the blizzard that hit. The one year, I was like, oh, it's a snow day. The first snow day at Michigan State in 20 years. And everybody was all excited. And I remember buying a gallon of milk and a bottle of Mountain Dew. And I had cereal, and I had alcohol, and that's all I needed to get me through the snow day. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog. I've said on this channel multiple times, I firmly believe video game movies could be the next step. Well, seeing this, I feel like it could be another step backwards. For as much good as Mario could do with this Imagine Entertainment, the people who do Despicable Me, I feel, you know, a Mario movie in that design, that vein, could be cool, could be a hit. We already had Wreck-It Ralph prove that people like to see these characters. I don't think we need to see another Street Fighter movie, another Mortal Kombat movie in today's day and age with an R-rated action, an R-rated martial arts film that's violent and bloody would be awesome to see. And get the guy that directed, you know, The Raid, The Redemption, or something like that. Make it Mortal Kombat. I think people would be really receptive. It's interesting. We always talk about pop culture from the past and how certain things are better than we remember. Well, it's interesting to think, or excuse me, it's interesting to look back and see that Mortal Kombat 1 wasn't as bad as people think it was. I mean, I've watched it a whole bunch over my life. I like it. But it doesn't really lack a narrative structure. The first one is a solid film, and I suggest you all go watch it. It's on Netflix. It's not going to be a 10 out of 10 flick. But you'll watch it and you'll be entertained, and then you'll cringe if you try to watch Annihilation. Salvador, thank you very much. Morning, Boba Jeff. Shitter's full. Oh, man. I love Christmas Vacation so much. I will give you guys, though, my controversial hot take of Christmas Vacation. I love it, but it is my third favorite vacation flick. First one, European, then Christmas, then Vegas, and I haven't seen the new one. So, a lot of people think Christmas Vacation's the best. That's fine. It's just a differing opinion, but I'll stand by the first one as an actual comedy classic. And Christmas Vacation, while funny, I think people enjoy it because it tugs at the heartstrings and it's a Christmas tradition. I enjoy A Christmas Story, but I don't find it that funny outside of a few parts. Like, the kid stuff's not funny. The old man is hilarious, you know, and he's like, it's a major award. It's the most beautiful thing I've seen in my life. Like, I love Darren McGavin in that movie. Or the, you know, the Fragile and all that shit. That movie's hilarious in certain parts, but overall, I don't find it funny. Especially, like, when Flick gets his tongue stuck to a pole. I don't know, maybe I've seen it, you know, 600 times, but I still enjoy the shit out of it. Do not worry about the Godzilla trailer. We are going to be going into a deep dive about Godzilla. I'm just waiting to hit our next 3 viewers, and we will start. I have not only watched the Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer, I have... See, the original title for today's video was going to be something along the lines of Godzilla, and I mean the classic one, so Gojira, is I guess a learning tool for all NPC filmmakers, because you can tell a really deep, interesting story in a film and not have it be poorly executed. I think much like a lot of art today, just art in general, maybe not games, if you consider games art, I think games have reached a new level, especially with stuff like Smash Brothers. But in general, all art, comic art, movies, paintings, all this stuff has really dipped in quality. And so Godzilla, or Gojira, which is an allegory for nuclear testing, is a really smart thing. And I have an article that I'm going to share with you, and we're going to talk about that. So just stick around for the Godzilla talk. I promise it's coming, but we're going to talk about this Chinese slave labor. And this is a brand new article. It came out 10 hours ago. It's not some historical thing that we're trying to poke fun at Disney to get you to click on the video. This is brand new from CNBC or MSNBC. Some news source that you may not agree with, but they would get in deep shit if they made this story up. So, Cesario Japan, thank you very much. I want a Killer Instinct movie. I will watch a Killer Instinct movie as long as it goes combo breaker, like just straight up. That's what they should just call the movie, combo breaker, a Killer Instinct story, and you got my money. We had Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo, and I just remember how weird it was, because I didn't like the narrator's voice, like Jiggle, and I'm like, okay. So I'd always play as that guy that looked like a ninja or the skeleton dude, but I was never that good at it. It wasn't a game that I could get, 40-hit combo and ultra combo and all that shit. No, I played it as a kid. I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't really that good at Mortal Kombat. Here's a story about me real quick. We'll start the show out this way. So as a kid, I would play Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2, and I would try to win against older cousins, but they always beat me. So when I was in high school, for the PlayStation 2, they released this thing called Midway Arcade Treasures whatever. And it had Mortal Kombat 1 on Volume 1 and Mortal Kombat 2 on Volume 2. And this was when I had a job in high school. So I was like, Mom, I need you to drive me to Best Buy. I have to buy something. So I bought these Midway Arcade Treasure games. And I took them to my cousin's house. And I said, hey, man, you want to play Mortal Kombat for old time's sake? And he goes, yeah. And I whooped his ass. And I had waited over 10 years for the validation to whoop his ass. But I finally did it. So now as an adult, I look back and go, ha. I beat him. I know it sounds petty. It is. It's incredibly petty. But it was something I did. I spent $40 to beat my cousin Jason at Mortal Kombat. And it was $40 well spent. Salvador, thank you very much. Good thing you like Christmas Vacation, because I packed your P.O. box like Grandma did. There might even be a live cat in the box. Mysteries abound. If I would get in some deep shit for a live cat in the P.O. box. Well, as long as it's for the channel, I guess it's for a good cause. But yeah, Christmas Vacation's a lot of fun. I got it on Blu-ray. I have a digital copy. I used to have it on DVD, and it was my favorite uncle who passed away, his favorite movie. It's weird. Now, this isn't meant to be a sad thing that I bring up before we start talking about the Chinese slave labor, but he died in 2014, 2 days after Christmas. He died wearing his Christmas Vacation shirt that he had just received 2 days earlier. They had to cut him out of it, and my aunt kept it. So we all love Christmas Vacation in this family. But, oh god, the Final Fantasy movie. I have that, The Spirits Within, on DVD. What is that? Well, was that even really meant to be a Final Fantasy movie, or was that some bullshit sci-fi that they tried? They're like, let's slap Final Fantasy on it. It'll get butts and seats. And nobody went to see it. Oh god. Thank you for watching the YouTube Rewind video, by the way. It was a lot. For those that haven't watched it, check it out. I just needed something to have fun with here on YouTube, and that was it. I laughed my ass off so hard, and you can listen to me laugh in the video. Those weren't forced or produced laughs. Those were me reading how much people hate shit on the internet, and it brought a smile to my face. So it was a nice little break from entertainment Star Wars news. But to be fair, YouTube is entertainment. It is popular culture. It is, what a certain demographic watch exclusively. My cousin has stepkids, and they're like 13 and 14 or 15, something like that. And they're weird, but That's the shit they're into. So I know there is a demographic. Weird people with no money, but there is a demographic out there. So let's start talking about the nightmare conditions at the Chinese factories where Hasbro and Disney toys are made. Like I said, this comes from MSN, and this is a 10-hour-old article. So you're going to hear it here first, folks. So remember, world-class bullshitters, Good Morning Pop Culture, we break it first because we do it live. We do it really early in the morning. And for those out there working and lurking, we're entertaining you and we're teaching you something in the process. So Chinese factory workers producing toys for Hasbro, Disney, Lego, and Mattel are being subjected to nightmare working conditions in the run-up to Christmas, an investigation has alleged. The report, titled A Nightmare for Workers, shows findings from campaign groups China Labor Watch, ActionAid, CIR, and Solidaire Suisse, who sent undercover agents to 4 factories that produce toys sold at Walmart, Costco, Target, and other international retailers. I guess Toys R Us is glad they're out of business now, so they can't be tied to this. 4 factories were investigated between April and September of this year. Workers endangered. Investigators found there were serious violations at these factories, which were endangering workers. In peak production season, employees were working up to 175 overtime hours per month. Chinese labor law restricts monthly overtime to 36 hours per month, but the report alleged factories would often ask local governments to implement a comprehensive work hour schedule to override existing legislation. Workers were also not being given the legally required 24-hour safety training before commencing work, meaning they were unaware of how to protect themselves from toxic chemicals. The investigation also showed that employers were failing to provide them with the necessary safety equipment to prevent contact with those chemicals. According to Solidaire Suisse, workers often handled chemicals such as benzene, which has been linked to poisoning and leukemia. Oof. I can't say investigators this morning. I keep wanting to say invaders. Invaders Zim. That's what's on my mind. Investigators also found that workers were being forced to sign blank employment contracts and were provided with poor living quarters, which often house 8 people in one room with unsanitary facilities and no hot water. Companies respond. Hasbro confirmed in an email that the products were being produced at 2 facilities referred to in the post. The allegations in the report were not substantiated by Hasbro's extensive monitoring and audits conducted throughout 2018, and both suppliers are in good standing with Hasbro's robust ethical sourcing requirements, a spokesman told CNBC. In an emailed statement to CNBC, a Target spokesperson said that it took the allegation seriously, adding, "We will expect all vendors supplying products to Target to uphold our standards and treat everyone with respect, dignity, and equality." Now, to be fair, when I initially read this article, nobody had responded yet. So they have updated this article, and that's good. I mean, I think what we all want at the end of the day is for no one to be killed over this stuff. But as our friend American Trent said, it's really ironic that people are dying to make Rose Tico action figures. Now, I'll just say this in closing. The factory that produces the Disney princess dolls, called Sing and Sparkle Ariel, have a daily quota of up to 2,500 toys per day. They work 26 days a month, earning $435 per month, plus 1 cent for each doll produced. The Ariel doll currently retails on Amazon for $34.97 in the U.S. So, folks, this is American ingenuity at its finest. You ship it out real cheap, bring it back, jack up the price. Now, every company is responsible for this, but close to Christmas, I find this to be pretty embarrassing for our friends over at Hasbro. And why do I cover it? Because I cover everything regarding Hasbro and Star Wars toys. It's all part of the culture war. Now, I hope nothing but the best for these Chinese laborers. I don't wish anything bad on people. I can take a dump on Star Wars toys all day. Shit, I might actually literally do it if it gets me 1 million views. But if I'm going to be completely honest and serious, this is terrible, and I feel for these people. So, for those out there, this is where your Star Wars toys, your Disney toys, all these things are made. I mean, it looks like they have communal pants over here. And take those things into account when you purchase Disney products, when you purchase stuff this holiday season. Yeah, so yeah, people are kind of like dying for a Rose Tico action figure. It's not good. Nobody's having fun dying for Rose Tico. The only person who died for Rose Tico was, well, nobody. She tried to die for Finn, but it didn't work. Shit. Can you believe it's almost been a year since that movie's been out? I don't want to think about it anymore, to be honest. I don't want to think about it. So, this is all. This is it. This is legit. These nightmare conditions at the Chinese factories. What do you guys think? We're gonna move on to Godzilla in just a moment, but Disney and all their garbage they want to throw in your face. We're this. We're that. At the end of the day, your licensing is just coming from terrible, terrible places. And please stop. That's all I can say. So let's start talking about Godzilla, King of the Monsters, because that's the shit people want to talk about. So let me find a good image, and we'll start. I'm excited for this movie. I'm excited for this movie, and I'm expecting to hear what you guys think, because we've been having a lot of people say, can you cover Godzilla stuff? Can you do this? Can you do that? Sure. I like you guys. I'll do what you request. So, the closer we get to this film over on Patreon, we will do some Godzilla commentaries, and you guys should request to join us if you would like. They'll be fun. We'll do one or two here, but we'll do a good chunk of them over there. That way, I don't have to try to do them live, and it's, that's a lot more functional. So, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Full transparency, I enjoyed Godzilla 2014 a lot. I saw it in theaters. I bought the Blu-ray. I've watched it, 5 times since it's been out. I've watched it more than I've watched Logan, more than I've watched Deadpool, all kinds of stuff. It's not my favorite movie ever. It's not my favorite movie of 2014. Winter Soldier would be. But it's a damn fine film that I'm happy got made. I've always enjoyed Godzilla movies. I've always been interested in not really giant monsters. I've always been interested in Godzilla himself. There's something about the character, design. I like the idea of this monster just wrecking a city, people running for fear, like the Blue Oyster Cult song. They scream to God as he looks in on them. It's a good song, and it's got some cool lyrics to it. So, for me, this was an easy sell. I didn't see Shin Godzilla. I don't even know if it had an American dub. If it does, I'll give it a watch. Because I used to take great pleasure watching the old Japanese Godzilla films where the dubs didn't match. And it's just like, okay. He moved his mouth once, but he just read a paragraph about nuclear fission. Sure, I'll buy it. Where's the monster? But the 2014 Godzilla had a lot of patience in the way it showed Godzilla. I liked that. And I liked the big payoff, especially when he ripped open the thing's mouth and shot that fire blast into his mouth. I was like, yeah! Because you wait and you build. Much like Hot Fuzz, much like Star Wars, much like Back to the Future, you build to these big payoffs. And you have little twists and turns that think you're going to lose, and then you get right back on the path. That's much how life is at times. And you have your big payoff moments. I don't like movies that are just non-stop action in your face. Even something like a Die Hard ebbs and flows. So that is your little inside look at my psyche. But on Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer, I thought it looked good. I liked the designs of the monsters. We got to see Mothra. I think we saw Rodan, King Ghidorah, all kinds of characters. I'm sold on the designs. We talked about this yesterday with Bumblebee, and I'll bring this up again. But I firmly believe we're now living in an era where we don't want to re-engineer a lot of things to sell the characters. The characters have a built-in audience, built-in fan base, a built-in emotional response to their looks, their designs. And for the most part, the other monsters, not Godzilla. Godzilla looks much different, but I still dig the design. But the other monsters look like you imagine them, just updated versions. It's almost like they took the old Toho suits and CGI'd them and made them realistic, added textures and this and that. I mean, Ghidorah's going to look awesome when it's not, a thing on strings flying around, puppetry. But you got to respect the old way that the films were made. I'm not here to knock them. Shit, I'd love to go watch them and have a good laugh and have some fun with them. Because we don't have too much fun with these movies. Now, my only complaint / criticism / concern is I hope that Millie Bobby Brown isn't the main focus of this movie, because I don't really like that kid. Stranger Things is cool, and all that's great, but I'm more focused on the monster action, so hopefully it does that well. We got a lot of it If I have to wait, fine. But I want the other stuff around it, the people's story, to be very interesting. Now, the Senate scene reminds me a lot of Batman vs. Superman, but I do like the concept of testing out monsters, and I really want them to find one of those giant, they call them Titans, finding one of them, thinking they're good, and then just getting wiped out, like some military base gets wiped out by, well, Mothra's a good guy. Well, female too, I think. But it'll be interesting to see that element, that dynamic. And this comes out next, let's say March? When does it go? Okay, Google. Godzilla King of the Monsters release date. May 31st, 2019. Okay, so we got plenty of time between Avengers and this movie. So I think it's gonna be a hit. I think we've now come full circle. Like I say all the time, what was old is now new again. Godzilla, King Kong. They tried it with Universal Monsters, but they did it poorly. If you would have launched the Universal Monsters Dark Universe properly, and instead of trying to just launch a universe, but actually tell good stories, I think you would have had a successful start, because people like horror. We had Halloween reboot / sequel happen. We've had all kinds of movies hit it big at the box office in terms of horror, in terms of iconic monsters and classic things. And the reason I'm into, Godzilla being out again, or, even though I didn't love Halloween, I'm excited for the idea of seeing Michael Myers, is because a thing like Godzilla doesn't really ruin what came before it, and it doesn't go against what the property is. With Star Wars, I hate to say it, they took what was there, they bastardized it to build up the new characters. Godzilla seems to be the only constant in these movies. Yeah, you have some kids on Earth, or you have some aliens from Planet X, or something like that. But then in the next movie, they're gone, and it's Godzilla again. We're conditioned, that's how it goes. James Bond, new Bond girls. Every once in a while, you get a carryover, like Eunice Gayson from Dr. No from Russia with Love, or Leah Seydoux in the new film, Spectre, and she'll be in Bond 25, which sounds better and better every day that I hear about it. But the trailer, like I said, it was a win for me. I didn't have to watch it multiple times to go, I'm in. Now, Avengers, I didn't have to watch multiple times to say I'm in, but I had to watch it a couple times, on the edge of, no sleep, as well as a good night's rest to just feel something. So, if I'm going to compare those trailers, I still say Avengers got me more excited, like I felt something, but I thought the Godzilla trailer, which was an actual trailer, not just a teaser, was a much better produced trailer. Avengers was a teaser, but a long teaser, if you know what I'm saying. And those are my thoughts just to compare the two. Much better than the Captain Marvel trailer. Captain Marvel did show a lot more than Avengers, but at the same time, there was a lot of cringe. Godzilla had no cringe. It was all killer, no filler. So take me to May. I'm there. I'll see that movie opening night. Well, let me rephrase that. We'll have a show that Thursday, and then I'll go see it. Well, you know what? Maybe. You know what we might do? Because summer movie season, the blockbuster season, is too big to pass up. Maybe, if you guys are interested enough, we will make Godzilla one of our exclusive live reviews right after it comes out. So, May 31st... well, shit, it'll be May 30th. Actually, that'll be the Thursday. All the guys will descend upon their local movie theaters, and then we'll get home, and we'll review it live, and we'll have a podcast. And, you guys can get that action from us as soon as possible. So if you'd like that, let me know. And like I said, next, after Avengers comes out, we'll throw some Godzilla stuff at you. So I guess we should start working on that now. So if you are a patron and you want to join us for Godzilla commentaries, contact us. Right now, we're getting ready to do Fantastic Four for somebody. We have to do Mother, and we have to do something else that somebody requested. So we have those three that are in the backlog, as well as some of our Christmas stuff. But you guys know how to contact us. So let me see what you guys are saying about the trailer, if anybody's talking about it. Let's see. So, first off, Logan Michael sent a super chat that says, a package thief stole my NES. That sucks. Now, did you buy a vintage NES? Because if you did, cool. But I suggest you get one of those, not Retron 5. Who makes the... one of those classic clone consoles. There's one that's really, really good. It's affordable. and I think you'll like it. It's a little more reliable than old technology. Okay, Shin Godzilla got an English dub. Okay, then I gotta watch that. Definitely. Ultraman should cameo in this movie. I agree. Billy Ritchie says, "Did you misjudge that monster's gender?" Yo. Yeah, and you know what? Until that monster shows up to my house and asks for an apology, I'm not apologizing. So, there we go. Not Retron 5. What? Who makes the one I got? The people that made it. No, I can't even think of the fucking name. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry somebody stole your NES. That sucks. Somebody stole... No, I don't know. Somebody stole all my consoles once, so believe me, I've been there. I felt the pain. Mini NT, that's what I'm talking about. The NT Mini. That's what I'm trying to think of, because I got the Super NT. Get the NT Mini. They're, whoever makes them. That was a great thing. Godzilla vs. King Kong has me excited. Very excited. I can't wait to see that movie. For example, when I saw King Kong Skull Island, was it last year? And I sat through the theater waiting. Once I heard that Godzilla scream, I was like, oh shit. I got goosebumps. I was ready to go. So even Brie Larson's frowny ass could not keep me from being excited about that. So now, here comes a little bit of a longer segment. So let me check the chat one more time. Nothing. Okay. We're going into a deep dive with Godzilla right now. You guys want this kind of stuff? You guys are going to get this kind of stuff. So let me pull up a picture of the original Godzilla so you can see how far the characters come, or Gojira. And we'll start talking about... There's a band called Gojira? Film. That's weird. So, 1954 Gojira. We'll look at the poster. When I hit it even bigger, I want to collect Japanese movie posters. I just love Japanese movie posters. There's something about the way they're laid out. I just can't get enough of them. So, we're going to go from this beautifully rendered new Godzilla poster to this classic Godzilla poster. And there we go. So, the original Godzilla movie was a metaphor for the devastating effects of nuclear weapons. When someone mentions Godzilla and its Japanese origins, people often think of the outdated visual effects, a clumsy man in a lizard suit, and a number of over-the-top actors who seem to be trying too hard to convince the audience of the creature's dangers. That stereotype, however, was created by the 1956 American cut of the original Japanese film. The American cut was titled Godzilla, King of the Monsters. For the American version, the producers had removed more than 16 minutes of footage and replaced it with a subplot involving an American journalist witnessing a giant monster's rampage across Tokyo. In addition to the film was poorly dubbed in English, which influenced the reception significantly, as the actors looked silly while being out of sync with the voiceover. But what really downsized the quality of the original motion picture, directed by Ishiro Honda, was the censorship of the explicit subtext, which dealt with the devastating effects of atomic weapons, effects to which the Japanese were introduced to a decade prior to the release of the original film. The original version became a landmark of kaiju Japanese genre, featuring giant monsters as main antagonists. Having witnessed the destroyed city of Hiroshima 1 year after the atomic bomb was dropped, Honda became captivated with the idea of such destructive power in the hands of men. Even though Honda was determined to commemorate the disaster that struck Japan in 1945 and brought World War II to its end, the immediate post-war years made it impossible to address the matter directly. Censorship, endorsement by the American forces occupying Japan, forbade the film directors and artists of other sorts to portray the contemporary topics, and most of all, to be critical of the American military presence. This means that the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were almost too taboo, especially in the period between 1945 and 1952. Concerning the subject of censorship in Japan, Claude Esteby, a visual culture scholar from France, gave a comment for the Bangkok Times in 2012. Japan was occupied by the U.S. Army until September 1952. During this period, there was a ban imposed by American forces on information about the Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear bombings and their aftermaths, namely the radioactivity-induced diseases. But since the initial development of nuclear weapons, the Cold War dictated that the research must go further. The second generation of nuclear weapons was already on its way that needed to be tested. In 1954, the U.S. Army conducted the test of its hydrogen bomb in the Pacific Ocean. At the same time, a Japanese fishing boat called Lucky Dragon 5 was caught up by the wave of radiation released from the blast. The crew was poisoned and suffered acute radiation syndrome. The boat's chief radio man, Akichi Kobayama, subsequently died from the poisoning. Luckily, the other crew members managed to recover. Nevertheless, the incident sparked a strong anti-nuclear movement in Japan, especially because after the events, rumors started circulating that contaminated fish had entered the market. In addition to this, the Soviet Union was also testing its own nuclear weapons on the far northeast section of the country. The Japanese were caught between two fires. Under such circumstances, Honda decided to make his own vision come true. He conceived of a giant monster awakened from the depths of the ocean by the power of the nuclear tests. The monster itself would have enormous strengths and would breathe fire while leaving radioactive traces of contaminant to the survivors of its rampage. Honda called it Gojira, a mixture of the Japanese word for whale, Kujira, and the English word for gorilla, which was a clear reference to King Kong. Since the occupation was over in 1952, the censorship was losing its power. That didn't mean the authorities weren't worried about Honda's script, but since the film would fall into the science fiction genre, they misjudged its allegorical potential. The result was a truly bleak and disturbing picture. Images of destroyed buildings, homeless people, stretcher-bearing, carrying dead and wounded together with an unstoppable force of nature in the form of a giant lizard invoked memories of the devastation the country had gone through after a war that begun with Japanese surprise attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii and included atrocities committed by Japan. In the film, a Geiger counter runs wild while approaching a child who survived the attack. In one scene, a woman holds her two infants as the monster approaches, telling them they would be soon joining their father, who probably died in the war. These scenes are naturalistic and brutal. Scenes of the radiation poisoning and the destruction of lives recreated the sense that the ghosts of the war were still haunted in Japan, and that in order to move forward, one must be at peace with the past. Apart from the two atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, many major cities, including Tokyo, were targets to extensive bombing campaigns that caused enormous material damage and killing between 241,000 and 900,000 people. All of Japan had seen its fair share of destruction, and only 9 years after the war, the scars were still fresh. This is why Honda's film made such a huge impact. The metaphorical layer of Gojira sparked a debate on the potential dangers of scientific progress. In the film, a scientist character devises a weapon of such destructive power that he becomes scared of its misuse. Even though he lets the device be used to take down the monster, he burns all of his notes and eventually commits suicide so that the weapon could never be used again. This act clearly illustrates Honda's opinions on the use of science in military purposes that were shared by many of his countrymen. His decision to create a monster so cruel, so unsympathetic towards anyone, including women and children and the old, indicated that Godzilla was more a god than a monster. In 2004, when a restored version of the film finally reached the U.S., the viewers were stunned. The film clearly wasn't just entertainment, but a testament to the suffering that the Japanese endured. Numerous other versions, remakes, knockoffs, and sequels were made after the 1954 original, but none of them hold such an effective critique and significance as the Ishiro Honda original classic. So, folks, that is how you put a message in your film. That is how you take something that can seem as just basic entertainment and you make it deeper. You add layers to it. You see, a lot of people get all up in a huff when we critique Star Wars, when we critique Marvel movies, this and that, when they're trying to talk about the Bechdel test or insignificant problems that don't exist. Because you look at something like Godzilla, Gojira, whatever you want to call the film, and you see how important and impactful the film was, but why it was created, and the how, the life experiences, the things that people actually went through. We're talking 10 years post-World War II. The shit that people put in these movies today, like Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson never went through any kind of thing like this. None of us have. I mean, maybe your grandparents. I don't think we really reach such an old demographic in terms of world-class bullshitters. But this was a story that was fresh in people's minds. It'd be like if they made an alien invasion movie that was reminiscent of 9/11 in 2011. I mean, we went the opposite way. We came out with Spider-Man and other stuff to take you out of it. But the Japanese were more introspective, and they gave us this movie. And stuff like this, stuff like They Live, allegory, metaphors, all these things are really great when done right, when in the right hands of the right artists. X-Men, all of these things. X-Men had covered racism, homophobia, xenophobia, all these wonderful topics that are terrible but interesting for stories. They were covered incredibly well by a guy named Chris Claremont. The X-Men writers of today have faced no adversity, do not live in a world where adversity is a thing, so they create stupid stories about Iceman and other X-Men characters. They give Wolverine fire claws. They do all these things. Godzilla, Gojira, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it Godzilla, King of the Monsters. It's an impactful film, and I've looked into this a long time ago. I'm one of those people that loves to look up deleted scenes, lost scenes from movies. So I believe there's a scene where Godzilla eats a cow, like just picks it up and eats it off the ground, stuff like that. Or, you know, the original King Kong where he fights the spider, and they have the animatronic, but they lost the actual footage. Those kind of things. That's where my interest in this film popped up. But we have a super chat from our friend the real Callum Anderson. Thank you very much and good morning. The original Godzilla was the one Superman fought in the old 40s cartoon. Classic stuff. Wait, Superman fought a version of Godzilla in the 40s cartoon, the Max Fleischer serials? I've watched that. I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. So, I'll have to check that out, real Callum Anderson. Let me take a screenshot of your super chat so I can look. It gives me an excuse to watch the old Superman serials. I should get some breakfast and I should watch those. But yeah, this just, to me, Godzilla represents more, and that's awesome. I want more, I want more depth to my stuff, but it has to. Godzilla comes from a place of metaphor. Star Wars, people want to say, well, Lucas it was a metaphor for Vietnam. It was a metaphor. Look it, half the shit George Lucas said is bullshit. If you can, I don't buy, oh, this was all one story I wrote in the 70s. No, it wasn't, George. Well, it was always this. They were always meant to be brother and sister. No, they weren't, George. Well, it's a metaphor and an allegory for this. No, it's not, George. Certain things like that, it just doesn't work in Star Wars, but it works in other places. It's interesting, too, how censorship of the time. See, there's a difference. I'm working on a piece of media. I'm working on a video that talks about a difference between self-imposed censorship and creative freedom. And we're going to be talking about something very specific. I'm not going to tell you guys because I don't want anybody else to try to swoop in and steal my topics. But then again, I'm writing it so nobody else truly can steal what I'm working on. But my point is, certain elements, like this Japanese governmental censorship, caused, much like the Twilight Zone, when you want to tell a story about some kind of political or social issue, historically you've wrapped it up in sci-fi and you've reached a different audience. That's why sci-fi fans tend to have a better grasp on certain things. That is why I don't think Star Wars fans were able to have the wool pulled over their eyes, because traditionally, if you enjoy science fiction, you enjoy metaphor and allegory for other deeper themes and meanings. In a nice way, I'm trying to say you tend to be a smarter audience. Therefore, you see what's happening, and you have a good memory. For a lot of people, some of these movies are hokey. A lot of these movies are forgettable. But for the people that actually watch them and pay attention, the message stands with them in those movies. They can't be bastardized in the future because the audience that will buy in and will watch them have a better memory about all of these things. So, when we get to today, I have very little faith that writers of today have the ability to create the level of depth that somebody like a Rod Serling has. That's why Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone scares me because the dude's a one-note joke. All I can do is talk about racism. Buddy, if the world was as shitty as you want to talk about, you wouldn't have a white wife, millions of dollars, a hit TV show, an Oscar, and all these other things. So please tell me, Jordan Peele, how your life is so oppressed. Oh, I had problems growing up. Guess what? That was like 30 years ago. Get over yourself. Everybody does. But Serling and Buck Houghton and every other writer, Ray Bradbury, these people understood the great human drama, the great journey that we're all on as a society, as people, as humans, as individuals as well. They all got it. I don't think people study the classics anymore. I'm not saying you need to sit down and read everything to write your own story. But George Lucas mastered the hero's journey. He understood the works of Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell considered him his greatest student. It was a hero with 1,000 faces. Look at Luke Skywalker. A lot of Star Wars is directly referenced from that book. But it works because it's a story that resonates with people. But I don't think it's got the deeper political meaning, like a Godzilla, like a Twilight Zone, like They Live, or Westworld, or something like that. You know, the dangers of technology. Where do we stop? You know, Black Mirror really started out strong with those kind of cautionary tales, but then they were bought up by Netflix, essentially, and now the show's just more fluff and garbage on Netflix. I hate to always bring up that point, but you took one of the smartest shows out there that made you think and really could captivate you, and you made it just hokey bullshit to promote an agenda. That's what happens when you get these big companies that buy everything up. Netflix has an agenda, Disney, Marvel. If you're on the ropes, if you're a winning company, you have an agenda that you push. If you're on the ropes like a DC, you can't afford an agenda right now. If Aquaman makes $10 billion, hypothetically, and Shazam beats Captain Marvel and Avengers, then DC will develop an agenda. But until you're on the winning side, you really don't have an agenda. Until you're comfortable, you don't have an agenda. The WWE, same example. Back in the day when they were the WWF fighting the WCW, man, every week they had to come up with new entertaining shit. Once they won, they got lazy, complacent, and now Stephanie McMahon runs the place, and it's, well, we're more focused on philanthropy. Philanthropy is the business of the future. So they sit and they pat themselves on the back about, we have breast cancer month and prostate cancer month and sick kid month and all these things, but your TV show's unwatchable. So that's nice that you want to go out and do all these great things to promote families and stuff like that. Awesome. But you got to produce something worthwhile in watching because, you know, as an adult who has the disposable income to go to your shows, you're making it less and less desirable. And families can't afford the jacked up prices you charge for WrestleMania. $1,200 for a fucking ticket? Come on now. Understand your demographics. But I just hope you guys enjoyed my Godzilla discussion. I wanted to talk about that, and much like when we covered Doctor Who a while ago, long-form topics like this need to be covered. Yeah, I like to have the fun. I like to, you know, read the super chats and zing off of each other and stuff like that. Believe me, it's great. But sometimes you have something really important. So while you're excited for the new Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer and what's going to come out in May, and believe me, I'm right there with you. I'm excited. I actually want to pick up an SH Monster Arts series of Godzilla figures. I don't think I'll allow myself because I'd rather buy, I don't know. We got Star Wars Celebration coming up. But my point is, I'm pumped. I'm ready. I'm there. We're going to be doing stuff to celebrate Godzilla. But remember where it came from. And if you've never seen the original cut, not the one with Raymond Burr who plays Steve Martin, yes, that's his name in the movie, go back and watch the original one. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to now because this article's inspired me. I already knew that it was an allegory for nuclear weapons, but I was watching King of the Hill yesterday, actually, and it was the episode where Hank and his family go to Japan. They meet Junichiro, Cotton's Japanese son, and, you know, they're talking about Japanese culture and stuff. And I was just thinking about how, you know, King of the Hill represented what they would call a Japanese stereotype today, but if you watch Japanese media, it seems to be a direct representation of it. And I've just been very Japanese focused. Over the last couple of weeks, you've heard me talk about, oh, I'm into Metal Gear Solid and Nintendo stuff and just all this. I've been watching Lupin the Third, all these Japanese produced things. It's funny, in Japan, they make some of the best stuff, to quote Marty McFly. Remember Back to the Future Part 3, when they're in the mine, he's like, oh, no wonder it broke. It's made in Japan. Like, Japan, they make all the best stuff. So it's funny. That's a nice, funny line about, 30-year difference and how Japan is perceived. I think, as a country, in terms of their entertainment, Japan has pretty desirable exports. Some people like J-pop. I don't. But their video games are great. I like the comics and the cartoons and all that stuff. So, yay, Japan. So, does anybody else say anything? The real Callum Anderson says, The Arctic Giant, 1942. Oh, I'll get to the Thanos EVS in just a second. Okay, The Arctic Giants. I'm pretty sure I've seen that one. I'll have to go back and check that out for sure. I'm being picked in the race draft. What, let's see, what am I doing? What am I being drafted? Who's drafting me? Like Tiger Woods, the black delegation or, the Asian delegation. So who's going to fight? Who's going to pick me? I have like 4 different races. I don't know. I'm a free agent. I don't know if I'm about to be drafted. Let's see. Thanos EVS says, I will spare you if you give me a pie. Well, Thanos EVS, I actually have pumpkin pie downstairs. My mom bought 2 cans of Ready Whip. She's like, we're going to have a piece of pumpkin pie. I'm like, okay, Mom. And she pulls out 2 cans of Ready Whip. I'm like, God. What? So, oh, man. I enjoyed it. We had a super... Oh, the Pui says, remember the giant robot movie? You mean the Iron Giant? I remember the Iron Giant. What's his name? Like Hogarth or something? Never seen it all the way. But I know it. Would that come out? 99? Like I told you guys, 1999 was a weird time for me. It was a point in my life where I had stopped really liking Star Wars. And I got into wrestling, and I thought wrestling was cool. I knew it wasn't real. But, when you're looking at The Rock on TV who's kicking people's asses and talking shit, or you can watch cartoons. Like, the only thing that got me out of my wrestling buzz was Toy Story 2 for just a minute. And then I remember I watched Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me a lot in that time period. That, PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and the WWF. I thought I was cool at 12 years old, 11 years old. But if that's the Pui, I hope that's the movie you're talking about. I haven't seen it all the way. But I thought the Iron Giant looked damn cool in Ready Player One. So that got a little bit of a, all right, out of me. Tim Riggs, thank you very much. Good morning, pop culture. Thanks to GMPC for helping me get through this, that hell that was 2 days / 24 hours of audits and fucking cold in Montreal last week. Well, now you're home. So hopefully, Tim, you don't have to do too much before Christmas or the rest of the year. I mean, if you can do it, just stay at home in bed. Watch TV, play video games. Eat yourself a pie every week. No, don't. See, I don't promote adult onset diabetes. I don't know if EVS promotes it, but his lifestyle does, and he needs to be challenged. It's dangerous. Take this insulin shot. But, yeah, I can't imagine how cold it is up there. It's 17 degrees here, and I don't like Ohio. The funny thing is, I was like, when I'm an adult, when I was a kid, I would say this, I'm going to move to California. It's going to be great. And then I become an adult, and it's like, well, California has wildfires, mudslides, earthquakes, and crazy people. I'll stay in Ohio. Plus, the cost of living is down, and we have everything except an In-N-Out burger that I could possibly want. So hopefully you got some delicious poutine in Canada. That's #1 on my list when I visit Canada, poutine. Logan Michael, thank you very much. So long, fried rice. Hello, fried chicken. I've always wanted to say this. For shizzle. God, I love that show. The Pui says, no, think the 1970s giant robot. No, I haven't seen that then. You mean Johnny Sacco? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. Oh, Tim Riggs has 2 more days of audits this week and then something else. Aw, sad face. A 1970s giant robot. I don't know it. There's not. Was it I almost said Mach Go-Go. That's Speed Racer. Let's see. 1970s giant robot movie. Like, Johnny Sacco and his flying robot? Well, that's 1967. Shogun Warriors? I don't know. Giant Robo? I do like to watch that stuff. It's fun. It's different. I like to watch Speed Racer, actually, because it's so terrible. I enjoy the shit out of it. Let's see. Tim Riggs, thank you very much again. The hotel had poutine piled high with Montreal's famous smoked meats. Believe that I got some of that. Believe that I got one night for sure. Let's see. Let me reread that. Believe that I got that one night for sure. I do. I'm hungry. I didn't eat yet. So poutine and smoked meats sound delicious. What did I eat for dinner last night? Big boy. Ugh. Yeah, it was okay. But I digress. Oh, man. Once we've hit, 42 billion subscribers and all this stuff and we get the world travel, I get to live my Top Gear lifestyle, and then it gets canceled. But that's okay. Everyone else is still alive. I would love to just go around the world and eat food. Travel Channel, if you need to get rid of that crappy guy that's on Man vs. Food and you want to hire a real winner, hire me. I may not have every food industry job, but I like to eat, and I think I could take down a couple challenges. I'm a giant, so bring it on. I'd rather do that than nothing. Yes, okay, so it is Johnny Sacco. Hallmark Channel, Jeremy. Jesus, there's so many of these people. Murat Dialine, thank you very much. Sup, Jeff? You see Batman Ninja animated movie? It was odd but good in my opinion. It's on the DC streaming service. So I've seen that I have access to it, and I've actually seen the Batman Ninja action figure, but I have not, bought, or I haven't watched it. I will watch it eventually. Because I pay for the DC streaming service, and I don't use it at all. Our buddy Steven from the UK sent Batman the Animated Series on Blu-ray. I've watched it on Blu-ray, but because DC doesn't have a streaming app on the PlayStation or something that I can watch on the TV, I'm not really using their service. People that launch streaming services that don't have video game console apps really shouldn't launch streaming services. Because holding my phone to watch an episode of Super Friends is cool when I'm in the car waiting for somebody, but when I'm at the house, I really don't want to have to sit in front of this computer. Okay, so yes, I am a glutton for hire, apparently. So speaking of hiring, let's talk about the opposite of firing. So, our boy, I'm sorry I even fucking said that. Somebody's boy, definitely not mine. Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars for shit he said years ago. Shit he apologized for years ago. But like I always tell you folks, if you want to wait for this SJW scourge that's infected Hollywood to die, you just wait it out. That's all you do, is you just wait it out. They'll eat themselves. And you think, what about a new problem? Excuse me. What about a new problem that will arise? Well, there'll be so much infighting that new problems won't arise. New causes will just go. They'll just eat themselves. Like it's, like if Godzilla ate his tail, and where would he stop? So, the Academy Awards are reportedly considering not using a host at all. An SNL-style show and group of celebrities could possibly replace a traditional host. I'm not going to go into too much of that. That's all you really need to know. Basically, the Oscars are just one sycophantic circle jerk of leftist political jokes, and that's it. They're the joke themselves. Now, SNL's unwatchable, but, why not go with the Oscars? They had the lowest turnout ever, I think, last year. So why not have SNL, which is a stupid show as well? I guess that demographic, I almost said the Liz Lemons of the world, but I like 30 Rock, and I respect Tina Fey, so I really don't want to dump on her too hard. But, I'm going to have an Oscar party and watch this show and do that. The people that you knew in college that stopped what they were doing to watch The Office, but then never really grew up. I knew a couple people like that. I'm not going to say their names on the show because I still consider them friends, but those kind of guys, they're the ones that are excited for the Academy Awards who would like this shit. You know, why not get Alec Baldwin to host the Oscars? He's a piece of shit. He matches the show perfectly. Tim Riggs, thank you very much. Academy Awards should consider venting Smilex gas into the crowd. That I would watch. Love that Joker. I would too. It would be. I would hope that Meryl Streep is eating tiramisu or something. So when the gas hits, her face goes right into the cake, just like in the movie. I would love to see that. And then Robert De Niro falls directly into his plate of spaghetti. Again, just like the old man in the movie. And then Jack Nicholson walks in after it's all happened and went, shit, I'm late. And then just leaves. Now that would be a good segment. That is why we need our skit show, folks. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can keep on moving the channel up. Because that's where we want to take it. That's where we want to take it. So I just brought this up to have a good laugh. Much like you guys, I think the Oscars are useless. And they're really pushing for Black Panther. Black Panther, Kendo shared this with me. Black Panther was the most talked about movie on Twitter. That's awesome. Good for it. One of the best movie of the year that I've seen. A lot of people would feel that way. Black people would feel that way. The movie is what it is, but when you try to make it a racial movement, that's where I kind of take, not offense, or umbrage? That's where I have a problem with it. Let's see. I lost respect for the Oscars a long time ago. There's a video of Kevin Hart basically saying he won't apologize, so that upped my respect for him a little bit there. If that's the case, good for him. These celebrities really don't need to apologize for every little thing. I'm not going to say all of a sudden I'm a Kevin Hart fan. I don't like his movies. I don't think he's funny. But the only thing he's been in that I liked was, besides Jumanji, was when he was on Conan or Jimmy Fallon or one of those shows where they were bringing Steve Irwin's daughter brought out animals and he freaked out and wouldn't touch them. I thought that was funny. That's just him being a wiener, though. Jeremy's Hat is now a sentient YouTube account. Thank you for your super chat. Have you checked the P.O. Box? No, I didn't, for a reason, which... It's a personal reason, so I won't say it. Yesterday was a very specific day, so I had some stuff I had to take care of. But I am going to go. I'm changing my schedule. Normally I go to the gym and in the afternoon. But today I'm going to go after I get off the air. So I will check it. Believe me, I'm excited and I'm very thankful that you guys want to send in stuff. And when I make the video, it's official. Good Morning Pop Culture Christmas Eve edition is going to be me opening the stuff. So... depending on how much shit is in the P.O. box, there's just going to be a stack here in my office. I got Yule Must and all kinds of other stuff. David Hervey, thank you very much. He wasn't fired. He stepped because they wanted him to apologize, and he refused because he has numerous times before. Oh, okay. Yeah, if that's the case, fine. I have respect for his decision. Plus, the nice thing about Kevin Hart is Kevin Hart doesn't give a shit. He's got the money. Didn't he cheat on his wife or something and still people are cool with him? I won't call him the Teflon man of the next generation, but he definitely has an appeal to a big audience. And good for them. Good for him. He's not, like I said, he's not for me. If I have to pick a current stand-up comedian that I will follow, there really isn't one. You know, it's funny, probably, for all the people that I bitch about and don't like their stand-up, I could probably watch Kevin Hart and laugh at some of it. You know, I'm embarrassed to say this, but this part I'm not embarrassed. I went on this date with this girl, and we went to see Tracy Morgan in stand-up in concert, and he was awesome. Like, that was one of the best times I've ever had at a stand-up show. So, good for Kevin Hart for stepping away. Yeah, there is a statute of limitations for apologies. Plus, you know, how many times? How many times? The Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much for generous super chat. Jeff, did you hear about Patreon banning Sargon of Akkad? Has it affected your Patreon numbers? Are you considering other options like Subscriber Star because people are leaving it because of his banning? You know, I've been hearing about this. I talked about it once. I'll talk about it again right now because you sent a super chat in some detail. I've heard about it. I don't follow Sargon of Akkad, but at the same time, or anymore, but I don't wish anything bad on anybody. So our official channel stance is we don't really have a stance on him. I don't consider him like a friend of the channel or an enemy of the channel. He's just there. He's doing his own thing. Like millions of other YouTubers out there, he does his own thing. Has it affected our Patreon? Very, very little. Because I said this, and I'll say it again, I'm not shilling for Patreon, but to leave Patreon because of what they're doing to Sargon of Akkad only hurts the creators. Look, you're not really making a big grand statement by leaving our Patreon for Sargon of Akkad, because unlike YouTube and other places, Patreon takes a very small percentage of the money. So they take 10%. So every $5 you give, we get $4.50. They only get 50 cents. YouTube takes 30 plus an additional tax and all this other stuff. So for those out there that are wondering, it's stayed really relatively. It's only dropped about $12. If you're going to quit over Sargon of Akkad, remember, it doesn't help him. It only hurts us. So it's not this big movement. I don't know why they banned him for. I don't, like bannings or anything like that. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So we'll have to find out in greater detail. But here's the thing about our community. That's the lucky thing. Our Patreon's been kind of in the same place for the last couple of months, which is awesome. Thank you to everybody. But we're really community focused, and it's more personal on our Patreon page. I know the patrons. I've talked to most of them. Hell, I've met a good chunk of them. I know who you are. You know who I am. So that's why, we do what we do over there. So, I think it's getting blown out of proportion. I think a lot of people want to get in on the movement because it's a thing like, oh, fuck them. But you're really, like I said, you guys aren't doing anything for him by leaving. It doesn't help him. And you're not hurting Patreon because, like I said, even if you're our top tier patron, $25 a month, or like some of our people who go above and beyond, you're giving like $2.50 to Patreon, and the rest goes to us. So you do what you have to do, but in all honesty, it does not affect. It hasn't really affected us, thankfully, yet. So hopefully it doesn't at all, and that's why we do all kinds of exclusive stuff. Plus, the nice part is, Patreon gives you a place where, for example, we're not going to have a Discord server because it has a lot of anonymity and people do dumb shit. With Patreon, it's I don't want to say a safe space because it's not a safe space. Believe me, After Hours is a whole different show. We get into like different topics and we're less reserved. But people, when their real life information's on a thing, it keeps them from doing dumb shit. So you don't see shit posting on Patreon. You see people watch the thing, they say, I liked it, I disliked it, blah, blah, blah. They'll send me messages, stuff like that. That is where we send out, like, if you're a patron and you want to get on a hangout, we'll send you the link over the Patreon account or stuff like that. So in this community, it's a positive thing. It's brought a lot of good. It's helped us get to conventions and do a lot of things. And as YouTube has become less and less viable, Patreon's been great. So that's really all there is to say. And okay, well, there we go. Yeah, hit the like button, folks. There we go. That kind of derailed the show, but I don't know what else to say. I feel like that might be a good way to... Anything else to say this morning? Like I said, we're not really a drama channel. YouTube drama is nice to talk about on other channels, and it's fine. You can ask me any kind of questions and stuff like that, but I don't do that kind of stuff, and we don't really operate like that. We talk about entertainment. We'll get into deeper stuff like we did with Godzilla and Gojira, or whatever you want to call it. But, I don't follow, what so-and-so said or who did what. That's, And if you're on our Patreon page, we do movie commentaries and this and that and world fan building. So, let's see what I had notes. Oh, yeah. Let's change it to some positivity. What are we talking about? No channel drama. Remember all that mundane Matt flexing? Yeah, John Harrison, I do. He came on the channel on the High Council, and we handled it with respect. Go back and listen to how I handled it. I don't speak for Ethan and Jeremy. They don't speak for me. I speak for myself, and I do reserve the right to speak for this channel, and everything I said, I stand by during that episode of the High Council. So, you know, you can say what you want about that kind of stuff, but remember, I handled it with class, and I'm glad I handled it the way I did. And we have not been in contact with him, nor do we even, I don't follow anything he does. So, there we go. Real Callum Anderson, thank you very much. Black, what are those? Panther, Oscar-worthy? Yeah, the what are those joke, I rolled my eyes. People, like, Dion and his sister are tight, so I guess they like the dynamic of the brother-sister thing. And I'm fine with the brother and sister dynamic. We had the Maximoffs in Avengers Age of Ultron, but then he died real quick. And I'm blanking to remember any other actual brothers and sister dynamics. Steve was an only child. Bucky and Falcon are like his brothers, but they're not actual brothers. So, yeah. We get something different. But society's dumb. Everything's brought down, and it's participation trophy time. Yay, you exist, you get an award. Why didn't it get an award? Why didn't, because that was a great movie. Why didn't, why wasn't Logan up for Best Picture? That had a lot more depth than Black Panther, and it's a superhero movie. Oh, because it's not one of those causey superhero movies. Let's see, that was my first High Council, says Paul Godin. Yeah, well, you caught a good one, Paul. You caught a good one, my friend. Jeff, any update on your impending chat with Razorfist? I'll message him. He'll say he wants to do it. Then he'll ask me when I'm available. I'll give him a time, and then I won't hear back. So it's still on the table. He and I are cool. There's no bad blood. No bad words ever been said between the two of us. But I'm just waiting to hear back, and so we can make it happen. Probably won't be this year. I'll message him again. I mean, he's busy. He's got a big channel, too, so it's kind of hard to find. And he's in a different time zone. So when we do find the right time, we'll make it happen. I still want to talk about Daredevil. Daredevil is one of my favorite superheroes. It was a great Marvel show. Was a great Marvel show. So, let's see. John Buscema. That's what I want to talk about. Sometimes we talk about what's popular. I'm going to take a moment to talk about what I want to talk about. So, we talk about comics. We talk about all this stuff. Today would be John Buscema's birthday. How old would this man be? Because he died many, many years ago. But, let's see. John Buscema. I had it pulled up. So he was born on December 11th, 1927. And he died on January 10th, 2002. Now, you may not know the name, but you definitely have seen his artwork in some places. And I'm going to show you just a couple nice, beautiful black and white pieces to set the mood. Because as I work on stuff, I don't draw like this man. I don't even try to draw like this man. But I do enjoy reading comics that look like his stuff. And so here's some Avengers artwork from Avengers number 74. We're talking about, what are those, Panther? There you go. There's the real Black Panther in the background, looking pretty intimidating. So, John Buscema, let's talk about him for a moment. He's known for his run on the Avengers, the Silver Surfer, and over 200 stories featuring Conan the Barbarian. In addition, he penciled at least one issue of nearly every other major Marvel title, including long runs on Fantastic Four and Thor. He was inducted into the Will Eisner Comic Book Hall of Fame in 2002. He is what I would consider the best Marvel artist, the greatest Marvel artist. You've had guys like Steranko, Neil Adams, Romita Sr., Jack Kirby, Ditko, all these guys, all these great prolific artists that really upped Marvel's presence in the real world. But I think John Buscema tops all of them in just pure technical talent. I look at stuff like his. He draws great heroic men, great angles, beautiful women. It's really just awesome to look at, and his gesture work was incredible. Now, a lot of it, he is inked by other people, and some of his gesture work is very basic, but he worked on some really awesome stuff, and I love it. He, even in his later years, when he had been doing it for decades, he was working on Wolverine, and he was able to keep Wolverine awesome and fresh. So we used to have a segment called Bad Comic Book Art. Kind of ran out of it. People weren't sending in their stuff. So I'm like, I can't talk about Rob Liefeld every day. It's unfair to Rob. And it's unfair to other artists out there. But I thought we would take a moment to celebrate a great man's birthday. He would be, 91 today? Yeah, he'd be 91. And like the article said a moment ago, he's worked on every major Marvel character. His work on Spider-Man was great. His work on Fantastic Four was great. I mean, I don't think the guy touched a comic book and didn't do a good job. It just wasn't in his DNA. And when he worked on Conan, we'll look at some of his Conan the Barbarian stuff, that kicked ass too. I don't even like sword and sorcery shit, but you know what? I was trying to show you guys this, but for some reason we had an internet hiccup. But no, it's Conan the Barbarian stuff. I don't like sword and sorcery, but I like his work so much that I will check it out. It's cool. I love it. It's simple, but it's detailed at the same time. He doesn't do sprawling. He does all the, the anatomy and the perspective and all that stuff. But, his figure work is top-notch. Top-notch. Let's see. The problem is the Oscars, they nominate movies that no one would watch or want to watch. To me, it's just like, hey, guys, we're an exclusive group, and you should enjoy this because it's all about... Look at, guys, entertainment stuff, a lot of it is about control, about power. People want to be able to dictate what you watch, tell you what to watch, and we're in on it. We're in this small little group. We know we're the trendsetters. We're the tastemakers. I'm not saying what's popular means it's the best. There is a point where that meets. You know, your original Star Wars, your Indiana Jones, your Avengers movie. Well, I won't put your Avengers in the same category as those. Your Godfathers. Like, there are things that are, Oscar worthy and hugely popular. Like Star Wars was up for Best Picture in 1977, or 8 technically. Those things, there is that center point. But then you get to more modern day stuff, and you'll get like Transformers that makes $1 billion, but it's garbage. So every once in a while, it's rarer these days. Like in the 80s, you could have put up what else? What one? Okay, Google, what won Best Picture in 1986? Okay, Google, what won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1986? So Out of Africa won Best Picture in 1986 for the Oscars. Okay, that's cool. Why couldn't have Back to the Future have won that? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain things, there is a point where quality and popularity, commercial viability, do kind of cross over. So, we don't live in an era where that's the case anymore. Everybody wants to talk about how empowering Get Out is. Okay. It's all about causes and movements. I feel like if you were to Thanos snap out older Hollywood, where they're all just kind of old, fat, and lazy, and they just want to seem cool and hip, so they talk about garbage stuff because they don't want to give up their spots. If you had, like in the 70s, when you had the new hungry filmmakers coming in, like, what's his name? Oh, God, the guy that did Last Picture Show. He was on fire for a minute, and then he fell apart. You need these people to come in. Even a Kevin Smith, who was young and hungry and had something to say, and came in, and he really did help reinvigorate the slacker genre and had, a string of small hits throughout the 90s and early 2000s. You just got to get people that have the desire to produce film. Back to the Future not woke enough. What? Is it not woke enough? A colored mayor, that'll be the day. And he did. He fought in the face of adversity. He spit in Mr. Carruthers' face, and he became mayor. And then his generations later grandson is still doing great. So Goldie Wilson changed it for a whole generation. Let's see. Peter Bogdanovich. There we go. That's his name. Thank you. I couldn't think of his name right there. I was just like, oh, man, what's his name? Because I just watched this documentary called The Other Side of the Wind about Orson Welles' never-released film. And that's a story you guys should check out for yourself. I'm not going to try to regurgitate it. But he seemed like he was on his way to do some great shit, and then nothing happened. His career kind of petered out. Goldie Wilson woke me up. Oh my god. God, I love that movie so much. I really want to... Next year, we'll do a day. We'll do Back to the Future Day. Like we did Star Wars Day. We'll do Indiana Jones Day. We may do Superman Day. We're doing Spider-Man Night. So, there you go, folks. You get all kinds of great stuff here on the channel. Yeah, Kendo was talking shit about Shape of Water yesterday. So, he enjoyed ripping it apart. Or A Lady Marries a Fish. That sounds like a hot time in the old town tonight. So let's see, is there anything else big to talk about before we close out the show today? Let's see. Take a look at some more John Buscema artwork while I do that. Enjoy the power of some great Avengers arc. And also pay attention to the Black Panther's mask. It's kind of weird. Here it is right here. I'll show you a close-up of it. That is the Black Panther, and I do not like that face at all. One bit. Black Knight, he's a pretty kick-ass character. There you go, Trent. That's Black Knight, that figure I picked up. And it's weird, too, if you look closely here at this Marvel Avengers cover mock-up, you can see where Black Panther's mask was changed to add the bottom of his face. And it's not a good design choice, I think. I prefer that covered face with the ears. He looks really, really cool. He almost looks like a stealthy Batman, but he's nowhere near the quality of character as Batman. So we covered Sonic, we covered Godzilla, we covered pretty much everything. So it looks like DC might be dead because Amy Adams thinks she's done playing Lois Lane and that the DC movies are being revamped. You know what? We'll check that out real quick. That'll be a nice closer. Amy Adams, who plays Lois Lane in Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, says she may be done portraying the character and that DC may be headed in a new direction. She says, I think I'm out of the DC universe now. I think they're revamping that. I don't know the details. While she didn't expound much on the comment, those marks indicate she may be finished with her run as Lois Lane, which began back in 2011. So, is it possible, folks, that her being out of the DCEU means that a Flashpoint will bring in a different Lois Lane, or we just won't see Lois Lane, or we just won't have Superman in movies anymore in his own world? I don't think she was a problem in the Zack Snyder verse. She was fine. Amy Adams is a good actress. I don't like the movie, the Alien movie that she was in a couple years ago. Not Contact, that was Jodie Foster. The one that came out like 3 or 4 years ago. You know what I'm talking about. I didn't enjoy that movie at all. I saw it in theaters. I was just like, kind of. But she's a fine actress. She does a fine job in the movies. I am interested, though, in this new direction. Based on Aquaman, I hope... Here would be the weird part. So, they were playing out this Zack Snyder thing. It failed in the beginning. Let's not even act like Man of Steel, BVS, Suicide Squad were great movies. They get it right with Wonder Woman. They kind of trip with Justice League. What if they get it right with Aquaman, Shazam, but they've already got the wheels in motion of this new DC universe? Like, as soon as people are getting comfortable with what they were producing, they don't produce. That would be a really bizarre twist. I don't know if I like that at all. GrendelFan84, thank you very much. Topic: the Bordertown comic book writer accused of sexual assault by coworker. Doesn't look too good for him right now. Let me see. Bordertown comic book creator. Okay, that could be fun. Not Bordertown Netflix. Okay, so let's see. From Vertigo, I'm trying to find out the news story. Does anyone know his name? Bordertown 2018. I can't. Can you tell me his name, GrendelFan? Because I'll look into it. Let's see, where's GrendelFan at? Looking for your face, man. Yeah, tell me his name. The Arrival, that's the name of the movie. Okay. Hate Yourself with Lois Lane. I'm fine with that. It's either Idris Elba or Michael B. Jordan should be playing Lois Lane. And if not, if you disagree, you're a terrible human being. And I ask you to please leave. That's all I can say. Please go. So, oh yeah. Where's the Bordertown guy? I'm trying to, I wanted to talk about that, but I can't find anything about it. Bordertown News. Eric M. Esquivel. Okay. Oh, okay. That's his name. People were saying Esquivel. I'm like, who is that? Let's see. Eric M. Esquivel. Copy, paste. News. I'm not... When you Google him, you get his Wikipedia page, you get his Twitter, you get his Facebook. He got death threats back in July, but I'm not seeing anything new. From, let's see, settings. Huh. No, nothing's popping up about that, GrendelFan84. I don't know any of this. I've never heard of this guy. So he's a writer and he's a journalist. And he comes from Gurnee, Illinois. Who else comes from Gurnee, Illinois? Nobody famous. It borders the city of Waukegan, is considered a part of Chicago's metropolitan area. Okay, so maybe some cool stuff does come out of there. But yeah, right now there's not much that I'm finding on this guy. His Twitter's protected, and that's really it. He and I have never spoken, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this dude. We'll have to find out more, or I'll have to find out more at a later date. I'm looking at the chat to see what's going on with him. The Umbrella guy covered it. Oh, shit. I'll have to watch that then. I've had that guy on the channel before. GrendelFan, if you want to just ask me another question, just tag me in it. Cesare Japan, thank you very much. Netflix is adapting anime Saint Seiya. Changed one of the effeminate male characters to female. Managed to piss off entire Latin America, which has a huge fan base. There's that meme that'll be like manga, anime, Netflix adaptation, and it's like a good version, an okay adaptation, and then a shit version. The more Netflix does these things, the more those memes are warranted. I do not hold my tongue when it comes to Netflix. I don't ever go, oh man, Netflix has really put out some quality content. Maybe I should give them a pass. No, everything they adapt or they touch, they seem to fuck up. They ruined Black Mirror. Their cooking shows are garbage. The only thing decent that they put out is produced from the UK, that Great British Bake Off show that my mom likes. That's a fine show because it keeps away from this Netflix agenda that people... It's funny. You say this stuff, and then people go, oh, you're crazy, and they ignore you. But then you throw some facts at them, and they start to listen. And then when something they like gets adapted and changed, then they realize you were right the whole time. It's a weird feeling. Nobody wants to listen, and they're like, oh, shit, you were right the whole time. And then they realize everything's doing this right now. I don't understand why you would change an effeminate male character to a female. It's funny, nobody talks about She-Ra and the Princesses of Power anymore. It was a thing that came out, people talked about it, it kind of died a quick death. Netflix won't release the numbers for that because it doesn't play into the narrative. They'll release numbers coincidentally for, the Marvel shows that are getting the plug pulled, but they won't do that. In terms of this, I don't like Netflix. I think Netflix is almost like the death spiral. They did that Death Note live action thing that people shit on. Why not Netflix stop adapting anime? I know you think there's money in it. Why not just put Crunchyroll and Funimation out of business, their streaming services, by offering, their stuff and more, and maybe, funnel some money into a dub of I want to watch Fist of the North Star, but I can't find it outside of being subtitled on Hulu. And I don't want to pay. Or I don't want to watch a subtitled anime. Yeah, sorry. I'll watch that shit, but I don't enjoy the original voice casts. I want to be able to listen to what I'm watching. I don't dig it. Originally, I did that for Death Note, and then I realized I could change the audio. And I did, and I rewatched the episode. But yeah, every character is someone's favorite character. Like, I'm going to take off this Avengers picture from the screen, but even fucking Giant Man or Goliath or whatever he's called here at this point is somebody's favorite character. You know, or Claw, or Black Knight, or Hawkeye. Characters that some of us may hate or think are boring. Someone out there, that's their favorite character. And Netflix doing those things, like changing the race or the gender or these things, there's just a backlash that comes with them every time. It's a lesson that these certain places never seem to learn. I guess because they're so high up and mighty, and they feel like, oh man, you know, we can do no wrong. We can do anything we want because we're Netflix and we have, you know, $300 stocks and this and that. To a degree, you can do a lot, but, you know, there's a reason why you have to shill out $100 million really quickly for friends, because you know why people stay with your service. They like the convenience and they like to watch the same shit they like. I've never bought the Power Rangers on DVD because it's on Netflix. I'm sure I've paid for the DVD sets 10 times over. Same quality of picture too. But I like having that there. I think Netflix and a lot of these streaming services are best operated when they are a hub for things you can't get elsewhere. Like for a while they had Spider-Man, the animated series. That was fantastic. So I do feel bad for people that are having their favorite things adapted and ruined. And I feel bad for him. That's all I can say, Cesare Japan. I care. I may not sound like, oh man, I'm so pissed off. I don't know the character. But that's tantamount to them saying, oh, now Lupin the Third is going to be a blonde woman. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not even sold that they changed the theme song to the show, let alone changing the character. You know, tradition's not a bad thing, folks. I'm not saying you got to live in the past, and I'm not saying you got to glorify the negative things of the past, the stereotypes, the Al Jolsons of the world, in terms of the jazz singer. But there are certain things that do work. There are certain things that are time-tested. Why alter those things? Why not make those things great? Why not give those people, the reemergence of something classic and fun? Let's see. Grendel-Fan84 says Cynthia Noggle is the name of the accuser. Huh. Well, let's Google her and see if anything pops up. No. Nothing's popping up for her story. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Bleeding Fools covered it. And then it's just a tweet. Yeah, see, this is the kind of stuff, again. I don't know her. I don't really want to get involved with this kind of stuff. Grendel fan, ask me anything else you want, man. I'll cover that. 2 topics, and she sent in 2 super chats. But, this is sensationalist crap that I like to make fun of. And I'm not going to make fun of this situation, but everybody gets so caught up in the lives of these comic book creators and shit like that. Do what I do. Go make your own book and ignore this shit. You'll make money, you'll make a fan base, and you'll be much better off as a person. And that's not a personal dig at anybody in the chat. But instead of sitting there and worrying about, oh, this person did this and this person did that, and acting like you're, part of the comic book community because you do shit like that, just literally go out and do it yourself. It's really doable. You can do it the old school way with paper and pencil, or you can go like I do and have the digital route. But just go and focus your energy on something positive. We're at the end of the year, and I definitely need a break because everybody's focused on garbage. And I don't live my life surrounded by this crap. I don't know these people. You know what? When Stan Lee died, I was concerned. Stan Lee's a real comic book creator. I don't know the stories that go on behind the scene. And this is the kind of stuff that made me lose my interest in becoming a comic book artist a couple years ago. All these stories, all this internet drama, I don't want to be associated. I don't like going to comic book conventions. When I go to the shows for this show, World Class Bullshitters, I go hang out with my buddies, I hang out with the fans, and then I leave. I don't get invested in convention drama and all this shit. That's not who I am. Maybe, you're losing out on thousands of views. Fine. But I get to operate how I want to, how I'm actually proud to operate. This isn't, again, these kind of drama stories are great for like 2 days, and then that's it, and then they die off, and then people are just like, oh, great. I'm not invested in any of that stuff. So, David Hervey says, speaking of anime, Hulu just partnered with Funimation. That's kind of cool for me because I already have Hulu. Hulu right now, for entertainment-based streaming service, I'm very pleased with what they're doing. I don't enjoy having to, own like 50,000 streaming services. Like 2 or 3 is my comfort zone. And Hulu seems to be the one I watch the most, especially with King of the Hill, Married with Children, The Goldbergs, all that stuff. If I ever feel inclined to watch wrestling, it's on there the very next day. So I'm interested to see what they get. Does that mean that Dragon Ball Z is going to be on there? And if so, do I get all the options of the different musical tracks that you do on the Blu-rays? Because it might sound narrow-minded or myopic. Let's say it sounds myopic. But I only want to watch that show with the Bruce Falconer American music. There's something about the synth and the guitar and all these things that really hook me. The Japanese trumpets, that dirt, 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 dirt shit when they're fighting, what is that? That sounds like Benny Hill shit to me. Give me something a little more intense. Isn't changing a male character into a female just because he's effeminate pretty homophobic, going by their logic? Yeah, I would say so, I guess. It's just dumb to change the character. Back in the day, you could maybe not. Okay, so maybe back in the 80s, you could accidentally make a change. Like, oh, based on the animation and you don't have a strong script, it looks like, oh, maybe this is just, a female character with short hair or something. And you could make that mistake. I mean, believe me, as a kid, at first I thought Link was a girl, and that was Zelda in The Legend of Zelda. We're talking like the first game. But you pick up really quickly. So I could understand that mistake back in the day. But by their logic, if you want to be, a little stinker about it, yeah, you could throw that in their face and say that to them. It would really hit them hard. So, let's see. Grendelfan, did you send anything else? Because I said I'll answer your questions. I'm not invested in abuse allegations and stuff like that. Yeah, Barbarella Alpha, I don't like going to conventions either because of that stuff. Plus, I don't like cosplayers. I mean, they're fun to look at on the internet, but when you're trying to meet, like, Mark Begley or some guy that you've been a fan of for your whole life, and some fucking kid with a fake cloud hits you and goes, I'm walking. I'm like, bitch, I'm paying for something. Go away. I know it's a double-edged sword because all those dumb people do bring in money to the convention, so the convention has to accommodate them. But at the same time, everybody, if everybody's truly welcome, then nobody's convention-going experience should be hindered by someone else's poorly constructed costume. So let's see. Sire J. Longstroke says, I worked in a Chinese factory this summer. How was it? Did you, I'm assuming you made it out because we've heard from you quite a bit. So I know you're alive and well. But I hope you produced some of those excellent Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor figures that are being reshipped to Walmart. Trent, your story is a great way to end the show. Let's see. Let me pull that up while we read a few more super chats. Let's see. Murat Aline, thank you very much. Did you ever hear of the show We Hunt Elves? It's a Japanese anime. You might like it. Well, I'm going to take a screenshot, as always. If you guys recommend stuff like this, I'll check it out. At least I'll have a document that I'm going to want to check it out. But as of now, I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard about any of these shows so far. The High Council's on Geeks and Gamers, if he doesn't magically disappear. He was supposed to be here the last 2 weeks, but life stuff happens. So it's Jeremy this week. If for some reason Jeremy gets sucked into a time warp, it'll be my turn. So whatever. But I'm next week. I don't know. We haven't discussed how far into the year we're doing the High Council, but once I go away for the end of the year, I go away for the end of the year. So there may be, I don't know, an episode without me again. Who knows? Grindlefan84, thank you very much. Cosplayers are why I dread going to C2E2. They take up so much space just standing around while you're trying to walk around them. Dude, let me tell you, because you've worked conventions, you work conventions, I've worked conventions. I have lost so many sales of artwork when I'm sitting there, you talk to people, you make the connection, blah, 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 they're starting to look at your stuff. And then some fucking dude dressed as Princess Leia in a gold bikini bumps into you. And then all these people stop in front of your table to take pictures. Like, cosplayers are the most unaware individuals of how they kind of damage the economy of conventions. Because, to me, I look at cosplaying as a sign of narcissism. It's like, look at me, look at me. It's like, great. I look at you. You're in a shitty wig in a fucked up suit. What are you, some Japanese school kid from Persona? Awesome. What do you want? You're not the game. You're not going to have the powers in the game. I don't get to play, I can't control you like I can control a game. What do you want out of me? I'm not enthused. Even the Star Wars guys are cool to a degree, but when you have 50 stormtroopers standing around you and they're like huffing and puffing because they can't, comfortably wear a suit, it's like, I get it. It's meant to be fun, but it's a lot like certain holidays where, it seems fun in theory, but it's a lot of work to get to that one point, and then when it's over, you're really happy. A lot of cosplayers, a lot of conventions are a lot of the hustle and bustle to get there, and then you get there and it's just dead. I don't know how much longer the convention circuit's going to be around. Do I want it to die? No. I enjoy Horror Hound, I enjoy stuff, but even Horror Hound has reached a point where it's no longer viable to be a horror convention. That's why they're dropping the big bucks to get Doc Brown from Back to the Future at the next horror convention. That's why they drop big bucks to get like Billy Zane and other people. Well, I don't know how much Billy Zane commands, but you're getting actors that are outside of the realm of genre entertainment because you can't really get people to pay for Kane Hodder or Dick Warlock that much anymore. Or you can't get people to come in and like by the dozens for Bill Moseley. Actors that have been in horror movies that people just don't, we've seen them before. With a lot of these conventions, it's, once The Walking Dead died, you saw a decline in zombie stuff. So people aren't dressing up as zombies the same way. The actors don't come to the show. It's just not a hot property. You get these Wizard World conventions where you'll get Chris Evans or Tom Holland, but it's like $400 to meet them and all this crap. And when people you go to the show and you take your one Spider-Man Homecoming Blu-ray to get autographed for $400 and then you leave. Or you walk around and waste people's time, but you've blown all your money. I think a lot of people fail to understand conventions are an investment on the vendor's end, the exhibitors, the hosts, the halls end, and the people that come in. You're not expected to buy a bunch of crap that you don't want. You shouldn't be forced into buying anything, but you should be able to enjoy. If you're working it, and if you're working it, and if you're going to it, you should be able to enjoy. There should be a happy medium. That's why I had so much fun at Horror Hound, because we don't sell stuff when we go to shows as a channel. We just go as a channel, and we have a lot of fun. And, that's how I like it. There's really nothing to take. When we sell t-shirts and stuff, it'll be done on the website, other exclusive things, but not necessarily to sell stuff at conventions. Let's see. Star Wars Philosophy says, is the title true? Are they actually using slaves? Well, you have to join our show early in the morning because we start out with an intro. Once we get to 200 viewers, we talk about the main topic and then we move on. So Star Wars Philosophy, you will have to go back and listen to the replay to hear all the juicy details from CNBC about the nightmarish conditions at the factory where the where the Hasbro, Disney, and Lego toys are produced. Dr. Coffinail says, I did conventions in the 90s as a pro. Fun then, but I would never do them now. What were you a pro of? Like, were you a professional artist and we don't know about it? Spill the beans, man. I know you. I've met you. I want to know. We didn't get to talk about that, I don't believe. Then again, I was drinking, so, when I'm at conventions, I always buy artwork by artists at the Comic-Cons. Yeah, it really does help a lot of those people because those tables are $200-300. And the print usually runs, let's see, the artist will sell it for maybe $10. And it costs, let's say you make $9 profit on each print. So you have to sell quite a few prints just to break even. Of the conventions I worked, I never really lost too big. The worst I ever did was like I broke even. But one I did really great at. So I mean, it's a gamble. It's not a lifestyle I used to want, it's a lifestyle I used to want, but not a lifestyle I want anymore, if that makes sense. Yeah, mail me some of it, Dr. Coffin Nails. I definitely want to check it out. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, Gretel fan, 200 to 300 if they're lucky. I know our table stuff at Whorehound was $500 for the one we're doing in March. So there's a cost that goes with it. Star Wars Girl said, I did a convention and had a blast. I was drawing the whole time. I'm not saying they're not fun, but they are, if you look at it from a business standpoint, there is a, how do I want to phrase it properly? There's an expectation versus a reality situation. If you're going just because, like, oh, you're giving out free stuff, it's fun, believe me. Like I said, the last one I went to was just like that, and it was fantastic. But when a lot of these people go, and, art is not a career that makes you a ton of money, you're banking on certain things. And when it doesn't deliver, well, then damn it doesn't deliver, and you got a problem. Barbara Alpha has an interesting point. Some people like a character, and then there are those types of fans that like to make their own interpretation of a character based on their shitty / fan fiction. They have no respect for the canon at all. Those make me laugh. Those make me laugh a lot. Comic-Cons are why Amazon rules the bottom line. Maybe so. For me, comic conventions are great to support the vendors. I don't go to the comic conventions around here anymore. They're just, like I said, I really don't want to go deal with a bunch of kids running around in costumes. Like, the little kids, like, if they put on a Halloween costume and they're trying to be Captain America, don't ever ruin a kid's fun. They're young once. They're only innocent for so long. Don't make them, don't slap them with the real world and ruin it for them. Let them enjoy the fun time that they'll never recapture. But when you got, like, the dudes all dressed as, like, Master Chief, and they're, like, sweating on the floor through their costume, and they're picking up stuff and ruining stuff, that's where the problem begins with me. Let's see. I have a fan fiction where Wonder Woman was attracted to me. Wait, that's just my crush on Gal Gadot. Well, hold those up. I think a lot of us have a crush on Gal Gadot. There's nothing wrong with that. If you write it as a fan fiction, you change the names, you might have the next Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey. Remember, folks, if that happens, it happened here on this channel, 10% ownership. Just putting it out there. Oh, so, let's see. Here's a funny way to close out the day. So I always talk about the ineptitude of Star Wars toys. I always talk about, oh man, it can't get any worse. Well, it just did. So for those out there, remember, I don't know, 6 months ago, we made a little video called the 3-cent Star Wars toys, where folks were discussing, or I was discussing, how one of our listeners was able to pick up the Cassian Andor and Jyn Erso figures on the cheap. Well, if you missed out on those figures because you couldn't get them clearanced out from Toys R Us, you can't find them at Ollie's or Tuesday Morning or Gabriel Brothers or any other store out there that can't give Star Wars toys away, well, then you're in luck. Because fresh shipments of Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor are hitting store shelves at your local Target for full price. So as I said, these were being pennied out months ago for 3 cents. And now they're back. They're coming back. Rogue One figures are back. They're in vogue. So 2016, folks, the hottest ticket that holiday season was something that wasn't Star Wars, but Disney and Hasbro can't get the message. So what do? They ship out more. To me, this is... Well, I always talk about how these back shipments, where do they go? Where are they? There's more produced than we see because it reaches a store and it stops. We have all this episode 7 stuff that never really reached toy stores, but it went directly to Ollie's. They got fresh cases of this stuff in. It sat somewhere, be it Toys R Us, Target, Walmart. Somebody bought it. It was shipped to somewhere, and it just sat on a loading dock. And now, 2 years removed, because we are 2 years removed from the Rogue One movie, more Rogue One figures are coming out. Now, you'll have your fanboy say, well, Cassian Andor's got his own TV series. That's why they're re-releasing the figure. No. These are the same fucking toys that came out 2 years ago. These have been produced for years and years. They're just waiting. They're just waiting to sell them. Because I bet you $1 million Cassian Andor ain't wearing that same outfit in the show. He's not going to be wearing that. And Jyn Erso isn't going to pop up. She's in a prison somewhere. Or she's on the run with Saw Gerrera. So, just when you thought Hasbro couldn't do anything dumber, they do. They do this. They ship these out. So if you're out there in the stores and you see your Rogue One action figures for full price, no, they aren't new toys. They're just old toys that somehow found their way back into the system. So I hope you guys take pictures of it and send them to me if you guys see these Rogue One figures. Because I've called it months ago. The shit... It doesn't reach stores. It's really not a hard thing to follow. Everybody wants to play armchair economist. I'm not even playing armchair economist. I'm playing this is how it works. It goes from the Hasbro to the stores. If it doesn't sell through, they don't put out new cases. If shit sits and sits and sits and sits, you'll get maybe they'll order case 3 and you'll skip case 2 and you'll never find your Dr. Aphra or stuff like that. So Cassian Andor... he is the oddest choice for a Star Wars television series. The only reason they would include him in a show, they think he's a brand. Great job, Kathleen Kennedy. Just like you forgot how to submit Solo to the Oscars because the dog ate your homework or your ballot. But Cassian Andor, you're only using him because he can be from the original trilogy era, so you can throw in X-Wings and TIE Fighters and Stormtroopers and go, oh, my feels, there they are. Grindle-Fan84, thank you very much again. The worst, a cosplay Hawkman with wide wingspan. I just had... Were the wings at least good looking? That's what I want to know, Grindle-Fan. With that kind of stuff, I get that, oh, that's my dedication to my craft. Look, I get it. You like the character, you want to dress up. But just be considerate of other people. Because I don't go to these shows to... check out Hawkman. If I really liked Hawkman, I'd go pick up the Joe Kubert run. If I was a real big character of anybody from that era, I'd go pick up Hawkman comics or anything. But I'm not. So I just don't want to be smacked in the face by plastic wings. Or did he use real feathers? I'm sure it was impressive, but that's just not a costume I'd really wear to a convention. You know, people want to wear Batman suits. Cool. You want to sweat through a rubber cowl? Hey, suffer for your art. But don't hurt anybody in the process. Oh my god, how many do they make? Too many, Loud Toilet. Too many. Too many. I love how people are like making fun of this whole situation. Yeah. So, and the funny thing is, they can let these figures sit in a warehouse for years. They get mistakenly ordered to Target, but you know the vintage stuff. Look, it's all a big glut. It's all a big mess. It's all a big mistake. And you'll see in the following year. See, they're very fortunate that they have literally a year till the next Star Wars movie, because they can pull whatever tricks they need to clear out the retail chain. There are a handful of Star Wars toys coming out between then and now. And in September, they'll try Forced Friday 3 or 4 or 7. Whatever number Forced Friday it is. They'll try that. They'll have fun. They'll do their thing. You'll get the same guys that went out before that will ardently defend all of these products, all these mistakes. I gotta go out and buy the new Rey. She's got a green lightsaber. Okay, cool. And then, you know what? 6 weeks later, it's at Ollie's for $2.99. I had to have it right away. Cool, man. If you would have waited 4 weeks, you could have got it at Kroger for $1. I had to have... Why did you have to have it? I love Star Wars. You are the worst type of fan. Disney loves you. You ruin the product. You know, Hold your shit to a higher standard, folks. I do. You should. It'll help everybody out in the long run. So, let's see. You know y'all watch some Porkins, you liars. Oh, William Hootkins is dead, my friend. He didn't think about the future. So, I will not be watching any Porkins because it won't be the real Porkins. Much like I don't enjoy Jake Skywalker, Ham Solo, or Ham Salad, depending on him. Or Alden Ehrenreich. Just wasn't a good choice. We need some order here because Star Wars is getting out of order. Unlike DC, that seems to be getting their shit straight and trying, Star Wars just continues to flop and flop and flop. And you'll always have those who make excuses. You will have those who are genuinely pleased, and they're not stupid or wrong. They're just in the true minority. The Tico figures are going to be worth so much, though. EVS is sitting on a gold mine. I have quite a few Rose Tico figures myself. So if they go up to, let's say, I paid $1 for each one. If they go up to $10, I'm selling. I'm taking myself and all my friends out for pizza. Kendo, you better hope those Rose Tico figures appreciate and value, because I will get us the best Giordano's pizza dinner experience we can possibly imagine at Star Wars Celebration. Captain Marvel is the flop. Very well could be. We'll see how the rest of the world treats it. Aquaman, for some reason, is a huge hit in China. Huge hit in China. We'll find out in the next coming days. We'll talk more about it on World Class Bullshitters this week. But we'll find out in the next couple of days how good Aquaman has done worldwide and how we think it's going to do in America. Because, like I said, we won't be covering it on the channel. I'll do my own review because our last episode is the 20th for the year. So be prepared for that to be our end of the year spectacular. It's a lot of fun. Lucasfilm could use the stern leadership of Darth Vader right now. Yeah. Apology accepted, Kathleen Kennedy. The Chinese love redheads. I didn't know that. So I guess the Chinese love Stranger Things because of... Wait, no. That was it. Beverly. Barb had red hair. That was the Barb storyline from Stranger Things season 2 was just a response to some sarcastic internet trolling that people actually took as serious. Barb from Stranger Things was a nobody character. That's why her figure's gonna sit on store shelves. But Barb had such an online following. No, she didn't. People made those jokes because they were funny. Or not funny, depending on your sense of humor. Grendel-fan84 says, best part of Captain Marvel, the J. Scott Campbell exclusive covers. Hot! You mean the J. Scott Campbell exclusive covers found at Comics Elite? I've seen those. I follow your Facebook page. She's got, like, the costume where her legs are exposed. You know, J. Scott Campbell, talented artist, draws great-looking women. Much like a Michael Turner or an Adam Hughes or a Frank Cho. I mean, those guys are in a very special category of attractive lady drawing. So I'm hoping that Comics Elite sells through all those exclusive variant covers very, very, very quickly. Because you guys are some good people. So I wish you the best of luck in terms of business. Yeah, Justice for Barb. That stuff was just out of hand, man. I was there for it. This channel existed. We had this well, not this show. We had shows. And I like Stranger Things. I'm pretty cool with Stranger Things. I've come to peace with it. Actually, I was never at odds with it. My only complaint with... Not even complaint. My only observation about Stranger Things is this. The 80s nostalgia is great. I enjoy it. It's fun. I love 80s music. It's nice to do a throwback. We're going to reach a point where it's no longer a thing. We had that revival of 70s stuff a couple years back, late 90s, like with that 70s show. And then we had this 80s revival, and it's stuck around for like a decade and a half. You know, the only time we've actually been out of the 80s, per se, is in the 1990s. Because a lot of 80s stuff came back and was cool in the early 2000s. So we'll see how far Stranger Things can go, how long of a shelf life it has. I'll be interested to find out. we'll be on that journey together. Because, like I said, we ain't going anywhere. I was an 80s kid. I love Stranger Things. I was a 90s kid, technically. I was born in the 80s. I enjoy Stranger Things. I just don't know where we're going with it next. Tim Riggs, thank you very much. Went back to your talk about the title article. The kind of audits Target/Hasbro say have been done and standards of those factories we're meeting is exactly the kind of thing I just went through last week. So I guess I should apologize to you, Tim, because you usually listen to world-class bullshitters to get away from your life, to get away from your job. And all I'm doing is talking about the most excruciating, hellacious part of your life. So I guess from myself, Kendo, who's not that proud of the quality content we put out, Dion and Nick, we should apologize to you personally, man. We should apologize to you directly. That doesn't sound very fun, though. I'm glad I don't have a corporate job like that. This, what I do here is so fun. And I guess I always tell you guys, and I always will tell you, I'm thankful that I get to do it. And I wouldn't want to do anything else. I'd like to get Good Morning Pop Culture to, I don't know, a whole new level. But while it is kicking ass right now, folks, let's give everybody in the chat, let's give it a thumbs up. Smash that like button. Melee them. I don't know. Whatever Jeremy says, do it here. Just listen to Jeremy and copy it here. I don't... Yeah, he's got his finger on the pulse. So, yay Jeremy. I like him. I'm a fan. But, Tim, I'm sorry personally, man. Hopefully you have... whoever has you in your Christmas grab bag, I hope you get lots of money, a big steak, and you get to hang out with some cool people. That's all I can say, man. That's all I can say. The Stranger Things merchandise is already riding on shelves. I think the time has passed. A lot of things, too, seem to be in response to internet hype. It'd be like if, over the summer, they came to me and said, Jeff, your channel's blowing up. We're going to make action figures of the world-class bullshitters. And all this shit's going to be available at ThinkGeek. So they, pump it out, and people are like, what is this? And then it just kind of sat. I think a lot of these companies see dollar signs before they see viable properties to merchandise, and they fail. They fail. Oh, Kendo. Oh, Kendo. There you are. Would I be up for an anniversary reading of My Immortal? No. I don't have the energy for that. It's the holiday season, folks. It's Christmas time. You should be spending time with your families, having fun, watching this show before work, after work, during work. Never stop watching it. But My Immortal, well, maybe we'll do My Immortal on a Good Morning Pop Culture. I will invite some... I think we should do some guests next week. If you're interested in being a guest, contact me over on the Patreon page. We'll have you. Hell, if I remember to do it, I'll see if I can get Google Voice to work on a Google Hangout, and we can do some call-ins for the end of the year and have some real unique fun. And if it works out, we'll bring it back next year. We'll alter the format of the show, and we'll make Good Morning Pop Culture the must-see show that it's always meant to be. We'll find out. Oh, Kendo, you weren't on the My Immortals episode. I guess we should do it in your honor. But, I don't know. I'll be the narrator. I can't physically do the Ebony, Darkness, Dementia, Raven Way shit. Hashtag Spider-Man for Smash. That'd be amazing. I would use Spider-Man all the time. So, folks, it is 10:03 a.m., which means it's time to bring Good Morning Pop Culture to a close. I'd like to thank everybody who has helped World Class Bullshitters grow. Make sure you guys hit that like button and share these videos. And before you go off of YouTube, go check out another video. Helps us become more searchable in the index. Helps us out. It helps us grow. And next year is going to be the biggest year. I always talk about 2018 as was our year. It was our year. It was fantastic. My life is completely different than it was when the year started. And each and every one of you are responsible for that. So as always, thank you very much. Next year, though, we got a lot to cover. We got multiple things. We're starting strong. We got Star Wars Celebration. We're closing out with Episode 9, Dishonored Son, or whatever the hell it's going to be called. So be prepared for that. Make sure you guys are subscribed. You have your bell notifications turned on. Hold on, wait. Alpha Terranima's here. Reboot the My Immortal reading trilogy with Idris Elba as everyone Also, here's some of my birthday haul. Oh, thank you, Alpha Terra. Thank you very much. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday, man. Hope it was a fun one. If you're old enough to drink, hope you had a couple beers, if that's your thing. You know, the older I get, the less I want to do on my birthday. I had a party this year. It was awesome. Closed out the comic book. That was cool. But yeah, the older I get, the less I want to do. I probably want to hit 40. I'll be like, all right, kids and wife, I just want to drink 7 beers and fall asleep on the chair or something. I don't know. But happy belated birthday to you. And thank you very much. So I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the deep dive into the Godzilla stuff. You know, I talk about things, I talk about how they represent this and that, and today I got to actually go into deeper meaning and discuss that at greater length. So if you guys enjoyed that, let me know. I'm not saying every day is going to be a history lesson. There are days where there's tons of crazy shit to talk about. Yes, even some of the sensationalist bullshit I do like to cover, like YouTube Rewind, because it's so cringeworthy and dumb. If you haven't had a chance, watch our video. We cover the top 7 most hated videos on YouTube, and I laughed my ass off making the video. Seriously, I have never had so much fun making a YouTube video. Just go watch it. Go watch it and check it out. Stoic Lion. I'm in my 40th. Birthday's become less of a thing, except when I went to Vegas. Vegas is awesome, no matter what age. I love Vegas. When I get married, that's where my bachelor party's going to be. Hopefully we don't lose Kendo. I mean, if we lose Nick, that's okay. And we can replace him with, I better not lose him either. But I digress. Folks, I'll be back tonight. Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy's channel, the High Council. We got some Star Wars news to cover. We're going to have some fun. It is the best way to spend a Tuesday night, scientifically proven, according to the, I don't know what journal of medical science, but check it out. I'm sure it's in there somewhere. So, folks, I'll be back. Make sure you're with us on Friday night for our Spider-Man commentary. It's going to be a lot of fun.